Oh man, he's really perfectly suited, with his quickness and explosiveness. Is really a natural athlete, so he takes advantage of all his body positions, and there's no weakness in any of his game at all. And his effort is really good too. Sometimes guys don't finish all the time. He's blasting all over the field. He had 3 or 4 sacks last week, chasing from the backside. Not just in the pocket type of stuff, but just all over the field. So he's a fantastic talent.
That's Raiders coach Pete Carroll talking about the challenge of blocking a guy by the name of Myles Garrett with the Cleveland Browns, who's on pace to break the single season sack record. Was it 22.5 sacks, shared by a couple of players, J.J. Watt, your guy J.J. Watt, and Strayhorn? Not Strayhorn, but
Strahan.
Strahan.
His all time. I don't remember his. Either way, it's a lot of sacks.
It's a lot of sacks. Yeah. Myles Garrett's on pace for 25 plus sacks this year, and lo and behold, that's who the Raiders have to try to block with a offensive line that. We'll get into that and our thoughts on what that offensive line might look like. Welcome to Vegas Nation First and 10, brought to you by the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Station Casinos STN Sports. I'm Vinny Bonsignore. That's Adam Hill. We cover the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal and Vegas Nation. The Raiders are just wrapped up practice, just wrapped up their work week in preparation for the Cleveland Browns, who they will host on Sunday at Allegiant Stadium. You look at the records, all right, 2-8, 2-8. All right, they got a chance, but I don't know. When you look at this Cleveland Browns defense, who are way better than the Dallas Cowboys defense, and with the Raiders where they are in the offensive line, and it sure looks like, your thoughts on that in terms of who's going to play where, probably status quo from Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys, which means,
if I had to make a guess, just based on some thoughts and some discussions, maybe I would say that
work in the room.
It's going to be the same offensive line that we saw last week. I mean, that certainly could change, could be different, but I think it very well could be, which was not good. I think everybody would kind of tell you it's not good. I think when I asked Chip Kelly about what his assessment was of the offensive line, he said they battled, which is the friendly way of saying they weren't good. They were fighting. Yeah. They stayed competitive. They kept trying, but they just they were really fighting a battle in that game, and they have the same uphill battle here with guys like Myles Garrett and Mason Graham, who I loved in the pre-draft process, who I think has been really good. It's funny when you talk to players in the locker room and you ask them about a player, like, what did you see from this guy in film? Like, I don't know that person.
Yeah.
Even if you say, like, what do you think of Myles Garrett? I don't know that person. You mean 95?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's just numbers because you see it on the film. And so there were some guys talking about what they saw out of Mason Graham, too. I mean, it's just a really, really good defensive line, and it's a huge challenge. But the Raiders are favored, and significantly so favored in this game because of the player playing quarterback on the other side, which is going to be a big topic of conversation today as well, in Shedeur Sanders, which changed the complexion of this game. This was a game that was a complete afterthought. That was everybody's going to check the score around the league because one of these teams is going to have a much better chance to have the number 1 overall pick than they do right now. And the team that loses is in the much better position coming out of this game. And all of a sudden now it's no, this is must-see TV for almost the entire NFL. That's going to have a lot of focus, a lot of attention on Allegiant Stadium on Sunday because Shedeur Sanders is playing quarterback.
By the way, that's the power of Shedeur Sanders. He's obviously was a popular player at Colorado. And getting back to Chip's, categorizing the offensive line is, they battled. I know that caused some fans like, come on, be honest about it, Chip, and da-da-da. Trust me when I say that's not what was said behind the scenes. I remember a Dodger player telling me after I kind of relayed what the manager said about something that had happened, and the manager to us, the media, put it in the most polite way. And he was, that's funny because that's not what he said to me in the office about 15 minutes ago when he, chewed me out from one end of the, for like 15 minutes. So never, take what they say in front of the cameras in that situation.
No, but I would say there's times that it does matter and words do matter, and I would say they battled is a pretty strong indictment of what they did.
Well, yeah, for sure.
If you really want to think about it.
He almost paused for a second.
If he would have come out and said, hey, they played great, like, okay, now you start to say, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, you definitely
they battled is not saying they played well.
No.
They tried.
It's the nicest way
essentially, they tried. Good job, good effort, guys. Didn't work, didn't play well.
And here's the thing. Chip Kelly knows what he's up against right now with this offensive line. I mean, all kidding aside, they are severely challenged along the offensive line right now. And whether you want them to play Caleb Rogers, which I know we're advocates of, I think it's just it may not look any better, but it may help the future one way or another, getting a handle on Caleb Rogers or expediting his development. But I think the fact that he's not playing probably tells you that in their eyes. I mean, he may not be as good right now as Will Putnam and Jordan Meredith, and that's probably a slight problem right now.
Yeah,
could be a major problem.
Yeah, I also look, I'm not going to do the. Yeah, I am. You know what? I am going to do the. Hey, you get what you want, what you asked for, fans. You can't be a fan right now and complain about the offensive line if you were excited about Ashton Genty being selected. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't do it.
Don't.
You can't.
You can jurisdict that.
Yeah, you can't. You are not allowed to do that as a fan. If you were excited about that pick and you said, I don't care that they didn't address the offensive line, we got Ashton Genty, don't come back now and say, I'm disappointed with how the offensive line is playing. You can't do that.
Whoa.
Think about that.
You can be disappointed with how the offensive line is playing, but you can't be disappointed now that they've drafted Ashton Genty, but when at the time you weren't. That's what I'm saying. Like you could still be like, all right, that's obviously something that they got to fix. Is the offensive line. Gave it a shot with last year's offensive line, essentially. DJ Glaze didn't take the necessary step forward. Jackson Powers-Johnson, was inconsistent. Moved from probably his best position to not his best position. Dylan Parham hasn't been very consistent.
Jordan Meredith was also moved from a position to an unfamiliar.
Right. So that's another thing. They didn't, if you're a fan, you didn't know any of that. We didn't know any of that was gonna happen. So they it doesn't mean their dissatisfaction with the offensive line doesn't mean they're not satisfied with Ashton Genty being drafted. No. And there's another offseason. Unless are they canceling? Is the world ending?
I'm saying no, but I'm saying as a fan, if you just can't have those. I guess you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You can't you think back and when you said when you sent angry emails and comments on this YouTube channel, which we could probably pull back up, and when I was saying, hey, you should have drafted an offensive lineman and not Ashton Genty, and you said you're dumb and you're an idiot. You know what you're talking about. This is what we were talking about.
Did they call you the dumb and an idiot?
Yes. Oh,
for that?
Oh,
for that take?
Oh, many things. So yes, but yes, I'm saying this is why drafting Ashton Genty was an issue. Not anything about Ashton Genty, who has been fine. He's been when he gets a chance, you can see what he can be, but you don't really have a chance behind this offensive line.
And my only counter argument to that is this is going to take a few years. Yep. So whether you got the running back this year and the offensive lineman next year, or you reverse the order, as long as you get it right at some point, it's all all fine.
That's not necessarily true, because by the time you do get it right, those guys are probably gone.
Who? Ashton Genty?
You're
saying this is going to be a 5-year thing?
Well, you get 5 years. Right, but
shouldn't be. If it is, that's a problem.
But I'm not saying that specifically. I'm saying more of you look at if you're like, hey, we have time to get this right, this draft and this draft and this draft and this draft, but by the time you eventually get it right, sometimes those first guys are already gone. They're not there anymore, and then, so you're moved on. So that is the issue. It's got to be built the right way, and I think the Raiders kind of see that now. I would hope that after seeing that it didn't work, that they see they have to build a different way, and we'll see what they do going forward. But this was the problem.
And it's
opportunity cost is what it is.
Right. And it is the it's I think I don't know if we talked about this, but I went back and looked at some drafts, and they could literally have Tristan Wirfs and Justin Jefferson right now. Yeah. Instead they drafted Henry Ruggs and David Arnett in 2020. They missed big time on Alex Leatherwood when they could have had the Virginia Tech guy that's in Darisaw, that's in Minnesota. Like the problem, and
if you were watching the podcast at the time, we said at the time, the night of the draft.
Yes, exactly.
And we said they drafted the wrong Byron Young, and they did draft the wrong Byron Young. That is factual.
Right. Now I don't know if they mistakenly did that.
Right, I'm saying they drafted the wrong. Either way,
I don't think you'll get any argument at this point. Obviously. on that. But that's why the Raiders are where they are. And I guess to Adam's point, maybe you don't draft a running back knowing that you have so many roster holes.
Literally the entire argument that was made the night of the
I still think you could make it work. Ashton Genty, he should, unless he gets hurt, which that could be a concern. But if he isn't, then he's going to be. If they do, it's all predicated on them making the right decisions.
The argument is, and you'll see one of the arguments on Sunday. Like Quinshon Judkins obviously has better numbers with a horrific offensive line. Also in Cleveland, has better numbers than Ashton Genty does. Like, it's not about the running back. It's about the offensive line. It's about the system, the scheme around him, all those things. The running back is the final piece of the puzzle because you can find those. Trevion Henderson now is scoring 6 touchdowns a week for New England, also another second-round
I just covered a Ram team that had they drafted Todd Gurley before they ended up fixing their offensive line and their quarterback. And guess what? Within 3 years, they were in the Super Bowl. Now, granted, he got hurt, but that's a whole other issue. But I've seen it work the other way. Like the offensive line that Todd started with and played his second year with was completely different than the Andrew Whitworth. They finally moved Saffold to guard. They drafted a Rob Havenstein. Like, it wasn't, the offensive line stunk when they drafted, and they didn't have a quarterback. But after drafting Todd Gurley, they were able to put the necessary pieces around him, and then he ended up being an Offensive Player of the Year. They win their division, and the next year they go to the Super Bowl. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do it. There's more than one way to skin a football team, a roster.
Sure.
Yeah. I just gave you an example of it working, and it was a very recent example.
He also got hurt. Like, that's why you don't take running backs.
Well, that's a whole other.
It's not the whole. That's part of why you don't. That's also part of why.
What happened to Carson Wentz?
He also got hurt.
Yeah, and
eventually.
So it happens. It's football.
It does.
And what happened to RJ?
Much lower rate. It is a much lower rate.
What happened to Robert Griffin?
He also got hurt.
He got hurt.
It's a much lower
what happened
rate.
to Sam Bradford? He got hurt a lot. So
the rate
look
is
at
much
Michael
lower.
Penix.
Yeah, you can point to people at every position.
J.J. McCarthy has gotten hurt.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that. Yeah, I don't know that if I see a really good player, I'm going to try to stack as many good players as possible. And the bigger issue is the Raiders just keep kept whiffing in the draft, and that's kind of where they are right now. We'll see what ends up happening. My question to you is, what do you expect from Shedeur Sanders on Sunday?
Not much, but he is playing the Raiders. I mean, that is the caveat to this. I mean, right? Shedeur Sanders, there was many questions about him. One, obviously, that he was a distraction, which he finally admitted and kind of talked about last week. That was part of it. Big part of it was that he just holds onto the ball far too long, and that doesn't work at the next level. And boy, did we see that last week against the Ravens. I mean, it was stunning how long he was holding the ball. Now, I know the arguments came back. He hasn't had enough reps. He hasn't done this. Wasn't working with the first team. But it was the same things we saw in Colorado. That's just against college defenses, and it's different in the NFL. I loved Patrick Graham's quote this week where he said, a lot of guys do that when they're young. They learn not to anymore because that's where the monsters are back there when you start running backwards. And that's what we've seen out of Shedeur. It's the first step, not up in the pocket. It's backwards. It's retreat. It's take really deep sacks. And so that is the concern about him. That is what we've seen on him. That's what the book is on him, and I'm sure the Raiders are going to try to get him to continue to do that.
That's if they could
Sunday.
get a pass rush outside of Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Of course. What did you think of Cam Ward coming in the draft?
Liked him a lot.
What's he doing?
I mean, him individually has been pretty good. It's the team around him.
His numbers are terrible.
Yes, the team around him is
what
bad,
about
but you
Tyler
look at
Shutt?
individual, I liked his arm a lot. And you're seeing him play really well right now.
His numbers are horrible.
He's
Dylan Gabriel's name is horrible. He's going to struggle because young quarterbacks typically struggle, and I know that everyone's going to make a huge thing of it, and when he does or if he does, it's going to be this major story like he stinks. I'm like, well then what's your explanation for Drake May didn't play very good last year for a good stretch of time. He started kind of putting it together after a while. Caleb Williams is a player that people have written off already. I mean, it's like young quarterbacks struggle.
Yep.
That's almost inevitable. And so I don't necessarily think that if he I expect him to struggle, but I don't think that that's going to foretell necessarily whether or not he's going to be good or not. It's going to be predicated on whether or not he's a good quarterback or not. So, yeah.
You want to see the positives, and even when you talk about like, all right, Cam Ward has mostly struggled, and you're like, oh, there's a great throw. Oh, there's a throw. That's why he's the number one pick. Like you see those things. Tyler Shuck, same thing. I mean, he goes on the road and wins. What, a second game? Goes on the road and wins a game in the NFL. Pretty good. I mean, those are things you want to look for. Those, for that, huh? Yeah, you want to look for those little things. But that game against Carolina, he was fantastic.
He's all right.
Trust me, I watched the game for a very specific reason. He was good.
Oh,
and
I'm not even going to ask what that reason was.
Well, fantasy reasons.
But
he was really good, and his arm is great. Now, there's some issues that he has outside of just his arm. Injuries one, and decision making at times, but he's looked good. Like again, you're going to see over the course of the season, a rookie quarterback is going to struggle, and their numbers aren't going to be good at the end of the year. You want to see those little signs here and there.
What do you think Shedeur needs to do to kind of hold on to this job beyond just
not hold on to the ball as long as he does? I mean, I think that's a big one. Like you can't play you can't see the Shedeur you saw in college. Like that doesn't work in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he's got to show that he has adjusted his game, adjusted his mentality, get rid of the ball quicker, process quicker, all those things, and I think that's what they're going to be looking for.
I wonder, what do you think about Dylan Gabriel?
A lot of checkdowns.
Yeah.
a lot of checkdowns. Been very, very cautious.
Yeah. He's got 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's not bad. But I don't know. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to be right in the quarterback business at the end of this year, if not next year, depending on where. But as Adam said, I think if whoever or if the Raiders lose this game, they'll start next week with the number 2 pick overall, I believe. I think that's kind of how the math works, or at least that's what I've been.
It'd be very helpful to lose to a very bad team.
Yeah.
Because you not only you drop your opponent's win percentage, which is a key tiebreaker, but also obviously get them out of the 2-8,
right?
Get them to 3 wins, and while you're still at 2, so it'd be big.
I think what works in the Raiders' favor, if we're going to go down that little rabbit hole, is that a couple of other teams that are involved in all that is the Tennessee Titans and the New York Giants, and I don't think either, obviously, is going to draft a quarterback. Jackson Dart with the New York Giants, Cam Ward, as we talked about with the Tennessee Titans. It may be, just maybe, this is the year for the Raiders to finish in a spot where they can viably draft one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, regardless of what you think of these quarterbacks in this draft. Get a crack at one of the top ones.
Well,
whoever you think is the top guy.
No, because they have a pretty big problem in that Cleveland has 2 first-round picks that are going to be both pretty good, and they'll just trade them if they have to.
They're going to draft another quarterback, huh?
Yeah, they have to.
What would you do with Deshaun Watson at this point? He's like a, if they were to release him, he counts $131 million against their salary cap.
They've only got 1 more year. They really have to hold on
to
him.
But man, that's still a lot of.
It is.
It's a lot of money. It makes a lot of sense for them to draft, or for Dylan or Shedeur to show that they're going to be the guy. That would certainly help.
Help the Raiders too.
Yeah, exactly.
One less team on the quarterback market.
No doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a quick break because Heidi Fang and Chuck Esposito, the race and sportsbook director of Station Casinos STN Sports, are going to talk about this weekend's games.
And joining us now on the First and 10 podcast, it's Chuck Esposito, the race and sportsbook director for Station Casinos, in for his weekly segment. Week 12 ahead of us and lots of action to get into. Chuck and I are both enjoying this rainy weather that we're having here in Las Vegas, though, aren't we, Chuck?
Absolutely. It's kind of holiday weather, football weather, festive. So, yeah, absolutely. Does everyone be careful driving in this, of course?
Yeah, of course, but we do want to keep the tickets raining in at Station Casinos and on the STN Sports app, and looking at Raiders fans.
I like that.
Ta-da! We call upon you right now. The Raiders are favorites in this matchup against Cleveland. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, 4-point favorites. What are we getting right now with the Raiders?
Yeah, both these teams have 2 wins. They both have 2 wins. We've had this game up. We put the games up for the following week, prior to the week that just ended's game. So Raiders were a 2.5-point favorite at that point. We reopened it then 3.5. It's quickly gone to 4, and it looks like it could go even higher. And that's a real product of Gabriel being out and Sanders getting his first start. Did not look great. I think he threw for under 50 yards, had a fumble and an interception against the Ravens. Now he plays on the road. Not that the Raiders are great by any stretch right now. Genty 6 carries, 7 yards. That offense has really struggled. You have to wonder if O'Connell might be the quarterback at some point down the stretch. But right now, 57% of the tickets are on the Raiders, and the number has jumped from 2.5 all the way up to 4. And my guess is it goes higher by kickoff on Sunday.
And, as we look at this division, the AFC West, things have become mighty interesting, Chuck. The Chiefs right now, though, 4-point favorites in their game this week. But looking at their record, it's kind of a shakeup in this division with the Broncos, leading the charge, the Chargers in the mix still. Are the Chiefs on the bubble? Are they going to miss the playoffs? What are we looking at right now, although they are 4-point favorites in their game this week?
It's strange. I think the whole league is a little upside down right now. I know you and I touched on, off air, but yeah, the Chiefs they have their hands full. They play a really good Colts team this week. They still have a tougher schedule down the stretch. They're chasing both the Broncos and Chargers in that division. And they have a loss now to both. So it's not going to be easy by any stretch. And I think you look at the AFC, the Bills just come off a loss at Texas, at the Texans. I mean, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, it's possible that if they all make the playoffs, they're all wild card teams, but no guarantee they all make the playoffs. And in the NFC, the Lions aren't even a playoff team right now. So all the teams that we thought would be playing in February, some of them are on the outside looking in right now, which, I still think they're all going to make the playoffs, but you never know for sure. It's just kind of weird to be talking about week 12, mid-November, and the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Lions, all could maybe miss the playoffs.
You said Green Bay and the Vikings. Detroit this week is a big one for them as well to kind of keep themselves in the mix. I mean, last year we were talking about these teams and championship games, playoff games. Are they going to be the Super Bowl team? And now it's like, are they going to make the playoffs? It's wild how the NFL works. Is there anything else
that
really
can
match up?
You look at Tampa and the Rams. The Rams have been playing really well. Quietly, San Francisco's doing, really, really good too. So I think you get to the time of season now where every game is really important. You can't stub your toe. And you're a Packer team that probably should have lost to the Cowboys and you tied, but you have losses to the Panthers and Browns. So it's a Packer team that maybe isn't quite as good as we thought after that Micah Parsons trade. It's going to be really interesting to see how the North unfolds. I still think the Lions win the North. The Bears have a game against Pittsburgh and Cleveland, but a really tough schedule after that. But we'll see how it unfolds. But the AFC is going to be crazy. Will the Chiefs, Ravens, or Bills, any combination of those teams, miss the playoffs?
Oh, there you have it from Chuck Esposito, the Race and Sportsbook Director over at Station Casinos. We look forward to talking with you again next week when we get underway and really kind of shaking out what the standings are like for both the NFC and the AFC as the season is winding down already. It's just so always too fast, Chuck.
It really is. It goes by so fast. It's hard to believe it's week 12, but it's fun. I just want to wish you and, of course, all the listeners and viewers a happy Thanksgiving as well. Hope everyone gets to spend some time with their family and loved ones. And don't forget the app. All the football games for the Thanksgiving week will be on the app. And if you're home and you want to come out, just come out and join us. We'll be open, kiosk open, mobile open, of course, games and all the big screens on Thanksgiving as well. So again, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you so much, and same to you and yours, and we'll look forward again to speaking to you after the holidays, I hope next week, and then we'll get back into it right now though with Adam and Vinny as they shake out the rest of the Vegas Nation podcast.
Thanks again to Heidi Fang and Chuck Esposito, the Race and Sportsbook Director of Station Casinos ST and Sports. I would imagine Max Crosby has a little bit, not that he's never motivated. The guys are one ball wrecking crew out there. But with Myles Garrett in the house, don't you kind of think that maybe he wants to one-up his good friend from Texas?
Did you switch up wrecking crew and wrecking ball?
Did I? Wrecking
One
crew?
man wrecking crew?
Well, that's if you're a crew of one, that's pretty good, I would think, right?
But it was one ball wrecking crew, I think.
One ball.
So that was a little different.
One man wrecking crew.
Yeah, one man wrecking crew is the way that it's supposed to.
What did I say?
One ball wrecking crew.
I
think you
did
mixed
not.
up. You mixed up wrecking ball and wrecking crew. And went one ball wrecking
It's
crew.
Friday, and the team that we cover is 2-8.
That is true. It's Friday.
Yeah.
It's raining.
It's raining.
UNLV has a game late tonight.
They do against
UNLV
Hawaii.
had a basketball game late last night. So there's a lot going on. But yes, one.
Are they
ball
starting that game
wrecking
at
crew is
7:30?
different. 7:30
in
well,
Hawaii?
7 probably no for TV, in general. TV in general.
Yeah.
But it's probably more like 7:42.
Oof.
Time. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yep.
I'll be watching on TV someplace. All right. So, but Myles Garrett, and I'm kind of fascinated by what game Max Crosby puts out there, because I would imagine when he's sharing the field with another, and in this case probably the premier pass rusher in the NFL, that's probably got to get Max's juices flowing.
I'd imagine, and he has a prior relationship with Shedeur Sanders, knows the family, has known him for a long time, so he probably wants to welcome him to the NFL as well. But I think it's the challenge of going against Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett being the gold standard right now in terms of pass rushers, and Max Crosby wants himself to be on that level. So I think he's going to try to do what he can to use this showcase. And like we said, a game that went from nobody cared about and was going to be an afterthought. Like, if you're at a bar nationally where it's like, hey, we only have 3 TVs. There's 4 games. Well,
have you seen the map?
Skip the Raiders-Browns game.
Have you seen the map for that coverage?
I've not.
Okay, so you may need a magnifying glass, and it's our little neck of the woods right now.
Sure.
And then you have to go all the way over to that Lake Erie area, and they're little blue, like maybe this big. So everyone else is getting the Indianapolis Colts against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sure.
That's the national game. But the way people consume sports now, I would imagine that there's going to be one eye on the TV watching that game, and on their phone or something, they're going to be checking out this game.
Yeah, and like I was making the point of, like, if you're in a sports bar and it's like, hey, we have to skip one. There's one game we can't put on. It's probably going to be the Browns-Raiders game. Not anymore.
It was, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not anymore. There's going to be a lot of attention on this now, so Max will probably embrace that, and I think probably have a big game.
Over under on how many targets and catches for Jack Besh and Dante Thornton. It was a total of 1 last week, just mere days after Pete Carroll talked about how he had just talked about, hey, it's time to turn that corner. Well, turning the corner probably means more than 9 snaps for Jack Besh.
I think Dante, who has pretty regularly been a starting wide receiver, has 1 catch in his last 7 games.
Yeah.
So, I would think one of my bold predictions in the paper, check out Vegas Nation, get that digital subscription for 25 cents for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
One of my bold predictions in the game preview was that he would have a 40-yard touchdown. So I think, I think they try to go back to that. It's something they probably try to take advantage of again. And, they've gone away from it for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, last week there was one deep shot that they tried to take. But I think they'll try to make that happen again, and I think Dante catches a long touchdown pass.
My question, and I want to try to get to the bottom of this week, there's a couple people that I want to talk to you about this, is literally when you walk to the line of scrimmage, how many times do Thornton or Besh get their number called, as opposed to how many times when they're the second or third reads, are they just not open when that occurs for Geno to throw them the ball? I would imagine it's a little bit of a combination of both. One, the Raiders not purposely or intentionally calling their number, and number 2, when the progression goes their way, those 2 players just aren't making themselves available by getting open.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of those things, and obviously, Jack Besh being behind Tyler Lockett still inexplicably for some reason on the field. So, I think it's a combination of all those things. And at some point, I think they do. Now, they haven't shown any ambition to start turning the page to next year yet, which I thought they should have done a long time ago. Maybe this is the week they do. But I do expect them to continue with the same offensive line, which is also going to limit how much they can do in the passing game because they can't really block. So, there's a lot of questions that are going to come out of this game, just like there's a lot of questions going into this game.
Could they be quiet tanking? What's that new term where you quiet quit?
Yeah,
your
quiet
job?
quitting.
Quiet quitting, where you just kind of do it without really making it a big deal, and it all looks so organic. And maybe this is just a massive troll job that's being done.
Potentially. I mean, I don't think so. Because I don't think, like, Tyler Lockett, I think, does give you a better chance right now than other guys. I mean, I think that's that
offensive line.
Think,
maybe the offensive line does, because we aren't there in practice. I can't imagine how, but that decision right there. Come on, help me out, Adam.
I don't know. I mean, except for, if there's just, debates and some people are trying to flex our muscle of who's winning the debate. I'll show you. I'll win this debate. He's not even playing. I mean, that's potentially possible. I don't know. That's the biggest possibility, I think, because
I can't imagine that they would be.
I can't imagine a planet where Will Putnam at center is better than Caleb Rogers at guard. I just can't.
I can't imagine.
Especially when you've had Jordan Meredith playing center all year, and they're asking him to do something he has had literally 0 reps at the whole season.
But here's the thing, and that makes so much sense. But then I fall back on this, and how can this be? Why would they not play if they truly are about competition? If you're saying that through practice, it's clear that Caleb Rogers is a better option at guard with Jordan Meredith being at center, then why aren't they just doing that? What's the reason?
It clearly wasn't about competition at guard because Jordan Meredith hadn't taken any reps there.
I know. Okay, let's get past the word of competition. Finding the best, literally, as Chip said, we're going to play the best 5-guy combination, basically. I can't imagine a world where the best 5-man combination right now, as is, doesn't include Caleb Rogers at guard. So if I'm right, what would be the reasoning for them not to play that? Other than maybe we're wrong, maybe it's that blatant.
If Caleb Rogers is worse right now if Caleb Rogers is a worse guard than Will Putnam is a center right now, then just cut Caleb Rogers. I mean, honestly,
unless you believe that he's gonna.
If he can't beat him out right now, cut him. And I'm not saying they should cut him.
Who's he not beating out? Jordan Meredith?
Well, it's more Will Putnam. Because Will Putnam would be the guy that would come off.
But Will Putnam's playing center.
Right, but I'm saying they're playing him center because they think he's more comfortable there.
Yeah.
Jordan Meredith kicked back to guard, but yeah, it would be Jordan Meredith at center, Caleb
Rogers.
Like
if Jordan Meredith couldn't play guard, maybe Caleb Rogers would be at guard. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But I just can't fathom a reason of why they would not be playing the best group. There's just there's no reason that I can figure out. Like
I'm saying if he's not, cut him.
Yeah.
And I know they're not going to do that. That's
of course
somewhat
not.
facetious, but
you can't.
If he can't beat out Will Putnam now,
it's not Will Putnam.
It is.
It's Jordan Meredith because Will Putnam is out at center. He's not. Caleb Rogers is not a center. He's a guard.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, but it's Will Putnam at center or Caleb Rogers at guard. That's the question. That's the competition. It's Will Putnam at center or Caleb Rogers at guard. Which one do you rather have in there? And then Jordan Meredith plays the other one.
Right.
So it's Will Putnam at center against Caleb Rogers at guard. That's the competition. And if you're telling me that Will Putnam is winning that competition, then I don't know why Caleb Rogers is here. And you've made a horrible, horrible mistake with the draft. And I don't believe that's true. I'm just saying, if that's true, which I don't believe,
I know
then you've made a horrible mistake.
We keep talking ourselves into circles on why they're doing certain things. The fact of the matter is we can't explain it. No. We just can't explain it. So
Or I guess the other possibility
would
be that Caleb Rogers is, and this is, I'm saying this is absolutely not the case because we know him a little bit. If he's a complete, just a blockhead or just
not understanding,
unintelligent, and he's not and causing troubles off the field, and those are just not things that are true.
Or just doesn't get the game plan or the
right.
The
what I'm saying is that would be an explanation, but it's not the explanation here. That's not the case. That's not who he is. So. It has to be the other ones, and none of them are good.
We were surprised last week when Caleb wasn't on the roster. Now we're thinking that he's not going to be on the roster.
Maybe they'll surprise
this week. Maybe we'll be surprised in a reverse way.
Potentially, but I just don't think he's starting.
So. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with that. All right, so that's going to do it for Vegas Nation First and 10. Remember, we'll be back at it on Sunday after the game. Thankfully, it's a regular 1 o'clock game. The last two post-game podcasts have been late at night. We like it better when it's the 1 o'clock Sunday game so that we can get to you guys much, much earlier. We will be there after the game, win, lose, or draw for the Raiders, breaking it all down. If you want some pregame entertainment or some reading materials, just go to Vegas Nation and check out everything that we do. There's videos there, there's podcasts there, there's all of our stories, photo essays, all of that good stuff. Check it out, and be sure to check it out on game day and after the game over at vegasnation.com. And by all means, go to mylvrj.com/nation and get the next 3 months of a digital subscription to Vegas Nation for 25 cents. Thank you so much.
And if you check it out, you can find out which player has one leg longer than the other.
Oh, wow, that's good stuff. That's really that's worth a quarter.
Sure,
that is worth a quarter. Enjoy the weekend. Some really good college football games. Stay dry if you're here in Las Vegas. The Running Rebels tonight against Hawaii.
Whoa, Rebels.
The Rebels.
Only the basketball team is the Running Rebels.
The stickler right here.
baseball team.
And he didn't just make that up.
Baseball team is the Hustlin' Rebels.
They are the Hustlin' Rebels.
Yeah, and the football team is just the UNLV Rebels.
By the way, great. I covered the UNLV basketball game. Great by Coach Passner to end his press conference last night by urging everyone to go out to Allegiant Stadium tonight.
Check out the football game.
Yeah, there you go. All right, see you guys on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.